Welcome to another video for WinBidPro version 16 by GDS Estimating. On this video I'd like to talk about glass stops, and in version 16 we have a setting in the framing system window that lets you apply glass stops to every light in an elevation. So there are some systems out there that are kind of a fin system where there's a basic profile and then there's a glass fin on the exterior that's extruded into the metal, and then there's a glass stop that's applied to the back to hold the glass in, so on the inside. So that's an example of where we would use this glass stop setting. So, and it doesn't, you don't want to confuse this with the glazing adapter settings, which are under glazing options here. So glazing adapter is something that doesn't add to the daylight opening, so there's no reveal of the metal, but it does. The glazing adapter obviously allows you to have different thicknesses of glass in a frame. So glass stop is more like an applied stop to the exterior of the frame that affects the daylight opening. So there's a couple steps to this. First one is in this main settings window, we hit apply stops to all lights. Now it's going to ask us if we want to have what the joints are like for those stop materials. So are the horizontals continuous and verticals are interrupted, or are the verticals continuous? I'm going to select that one. And then the next step is under components. So there's actually a stop component, and I've already added one glass stop. I'm going to call it top stop. And then I'm going to add a second glass stop. So we can have, much like horizontal assemblies and verticals and all that, we can have different stops, and we can even say side stops. So we can say side stops or 3/4 of an inch profile. And the beauty is, so we can add some parts to this. It can either be one part or two parts. So one of the main reasons we did this was to have, I'm going to search for glass stop material and just pick any old thing here. You can have different glass stops, whether it be profile or makeup. So there can be a two-piece glass stop on a perimeter, like a jamb and a head, or even a sill, or there can be a one-piece glass stop in horizontals and verticals. So that kind of having different assemblies here allows us to do that. Now, this is where the other part to this is, like I just mentioned, if a head assembly has one type of glass stop, then I need to pick that for this head assembly. So let's say I pick top stop. And now I've assigned that one stop assembly that I created to this head component. So we know that the head is going to be using that stop. So now I can go to a vertical and I can edit that vertical assembly, and I can assign. So right here, glass stop assembly, same thing. Default just means it's always going to pick up the first one. So if I only have one type of glass stop, and I check that box that says apply stops to all lights, or throughout the system, it's just going to automatically pick up the first stop in that assembly list. So otherwise, if you create multiple stops, you're going to have to assign those on the different components. So now I'm saying side stops go on the verticals. So there I've kind of assigned two different stops to two different components in the frame. And I save. And now you can see that our stops are just drawn in white, where if they were glazing adapter, those would be in magenta, I think. So you would see a different kind of color. But you do see that 3/4 inch stop, it's got the add to daylight, or the glass bite. So everything looks good. And you can see that our vertical stops are running through and the horizontals are interrupted. So that's a fairly new thing. We had the apply all stops before, but we didn't have the ability to select the different type of stop at the different component level. So this whole little section here is new. So that gives you the ability to have different types of stops, different profile stops at different components. So that's it for today. Thanks.